Well, we know that severe weather, it's always going to occur, and preparation is the only way to fight back. Now, one thing that you can do is to develop a disaster recovery plan for your important documents. It includes things like your birth certificate, social security cards, insurance policies, and wills. Now, Greg Parent is a litigation attorney here in Atlanta. He's joining us this morning with more. Greg, thanks for joining us again this hour.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we were talking about personal documents a little earlier on. You want to talk to specifically the small business owners out there who might have important things to protect also.
That's exactly right. Today with the personal computers, the laptops, even folks who work for large companies do a lot of telecommuting. They work from home. They're taking important documents to and from work. If you get in a car accident, if your home gets robbed, your car gets stolen, there's a natural disaster, those are perils where you could potentially lose not only your own information but your client's information.
That's not a good situation for anybody here.
Not at all. Whether you're a personal injury attorney like me or a photographer or something like that, you don't want to lose the data. So one of the things that I would suggest for folks is to, again, going back to the external hard drive, ferry one back and forth with you each night to work or once a week so that you have redundant measures in place. And again, we talked about this as well. Sometimes you have a fireproof safe, but what happens if there's a flood? I would take the old-fashioned technology of a Ziploc bag.
They do make all sorts. You can even go to a place like an REI or a sports shop and get these waterproof sacks that you can put things in.
Exactly right. The campers have a leg up on most of us. But it just requires a little bit of foresight and some planning and the discipline to have a plan in place so that you do it by routine.
Do you find that a lot of people don't think about these types of things when you think about plans? Most of us know where we're going to go if there's a tornado warning or we have a weather radio,
Sure.
but do they think about that birth certificate or driver's license and how difficult life is once you lose them?
Well, they don't until they're required to have them or produce them. Like I said, I didn't know where my birth certificates for the children were until I had to sign them up for school. So when things come up, people have to know where to go. And the problem with a natural disaster is, like you said, a tornado, you have maybe a few minutes to go. So after you secure the family and maybe your duffel bag with your computer in it, you're scrambling to figure out what's important. If you have some of these measures in place, you will lose some data for sure, but maybe you'll only be a month behind or a couple of weeks behind.
It seems like, quickly here, your best advice is to use some of the new technology, get something like an external hard drive, make sure it's waterproof, then put it in the safe room and make sure that you've got these redundancies in place.
Exactly. And for the other things we talked about, like the cloud services, there are also companies like Carbonite, Mozy, or Dropbox. Some of these are free services that you can use on an iPhone or an Android phone, and you can save all of your documents or client files and protect yourself in the case of an emergency.
All right, Greg Parent, thank you for sharing some of the valuable advice this morning. We do appreciate it. Maria, back over to you.
All right, Eric, time to hit the links. That's your golf forecast.